Tonight's episode is brought to you by Brian Garcia at Skindalus Ink Tattoo Studio in Denton, Texas. If you're looking for clean work, custom designs, black and gray realism, script, memorial pieces, or just an artist who actually takes pride in his craft, Brian's your guy. Whether it's your first tattoo or your next masterpiece, he'll make sure you walk out with something you're proud to wear for life. Located at 722 Fort Worth Drive in Denton, walk-ins are welcome, or book your appointment today at 940-383-0337. Check out his work on Instagram at Skindalus Ink. Trust me, don't gamble with bad tattoos. Go see Brian Garcia at Skindalus Ink. Hey y'all, welcome back to She Loved Me Best in Secret. I'm your host, Ryder Knox. Wow, I got a great chapter for you tonight. All right guys, if you drink beer, go ahead and crack one open. If you don't drink, grab a sweet tea, Coke, sparkling water, whatever makes you feel emotionally prepared for poor decision making and red flags disguised as romance. And ladies, no taking notes tonight. But if your wine glass is empty, you might want to go fix that before we get rolling. Because tonight is where things stop feeling messy and start feeling dangerous. There are some stories that are hard to tell because hindsight makes you feel stupid. This is one of those stories. Because when I tell you what Connor ignored, what he justified, what he explained away, part of you is probably going to sit there wondering how a grown man misses signs this obvious. And honestly, that's fair. But if you've never been addicted to a person before, then maybe you won't understand. Because after Grace Bennett and Connor met, it was like somebody lit a match inside him. Not butterflies, not excitement, not a crush, a drug. The kind of drug that sneaks in quietly and then suddenly has you rearranging your day around a text message. Grace had this way of making Connor feel seen, desired, chosen. And the attention she gave him? Honestly, it was insane, almost reckless, sometimes even risky. Looking back now, Connor realizes she must have felt something too. Or maybe Grace was just really good at making people believe she did. Because little did Connor know, Grace Bennett knew exactly what she was doing. And in hindsight, one of the biggest red flags Connor overlooked from the very beginning was her friendships. See, people tell on themselves by who they keep close. Connor just didn't know that yet. Of course, there was Austin, Texas bum boy Ryan. Every attractive woman seems to have one. Some emotionally attached guy hanging around waiting for his shot while pretending he's just a friend. But Ryan wasn't the dangerous one. No, the dangerous one was Esmeralda, Esme. And nobody knew Grace Bennett better than Esme. They grew up together in Saxe, Texas, best friends since childhood. Ride or Die doesn't even begin to explain what Esme was to Grace. Her loyalty wasn't to truth. It wasn't to fairness. Hell, it wasn't even to morality. Her loyalty belonged to Grace. Period. And even if you thought you built some kind of friendship with Esme, you never actually stood a chance. Because when push came to shove, Esme was never picking you over Grace. Ever. Which, if you're Graham, that had to make life hard. Because Graham thought he had someone he could trust. Someone to talk to about Grace. Someone who'd tell him the truth if things felt off. Little did he know, he was getting exactly what Grace wanted him to hear. And the really terrifying part? Connor would later realize Grace probably engineered that relationship herself. Because Grace Bennett was brilliant in a way that honestly scared Connor later. She was always moving pieces. Always creating contingencies. Always putting people in position, just in case she needed them later. That friendship between Graham and Esme? Connor would later realize that wasn't kindness. That was strategy. Because if Graham ever got suspicious, who better to calm him down than Grace's most loyal soldier? And geographically, it worked perfectly for Grace. Esme still lived out in Saxe. Ryan was down in Austin. Meaning anytime Grace wanted distance from Graham, she always had somewhere to go. Always had a built-in excuse. Always had cover. And then there were the in-town friends, which honestly only made things darker. Because the more Connor learned about Grace's circle, the more he started asking himself a question he didn't really want to know the answer to. Did Grace surround herself with people carrying secrets on purpose? Because what better way to guarantee loyalty than mutually assured destruction? First, there was Brenda. And Brenda didn't make sense. You ever meet somebody who looks like they stepped straight out of a parenting magazine? Perfect little suburban life. Elementary school teacher. Kindergarten, if Connor remembers right. Soft voice, big smile, married, kids, big house. The kind of woman who looks so innocent you trust her with your dog, your kids, your bank pen, and probably your emotional well-being. That was Brenda. At least, that's who Brenda looked like. But underneath all that, Brenda had been carrying on an affair for over 5 years. 5 years. And Connor remembers hearing that and thinking, what do you even call that at that point? Because a mistake lasts a night. A bad decision lasts a season. 5 years? That's a relationship. That's a second life. Brenda had a whole different version of herself nobody saw. Or maybe nobody wanted to see. She'd disappear for hours and come back like nothing happened. Same smile, same classroom, same family pictures. Like compartmentalization had become a personality trait. And somewhere along the way, Connor found himself dragged into conversations he never expected to be part of. Brenda would reach out sometimes. Not because Connor was close to her. Not really. But because once you get pulled into somebody's orbit, weird things start feeling normal. And suddenly you're giving relationship advice to someone cheating on their spouse, while silently wondering how the hell your life got here. But then there was Vicky. And Vicky almost felt too ridiculous to be real. Because if Brenda was the polished suburban secret, Vicky was contradiction in human form. On the outside, perfect wife, perfect mom, workout obsessed, fun, social, the type of person everybody likes. But when nobody was around, Vicky was a little high-end escort. She was the original OnlyFans page. The irony. I bet if she heard this today, she'd be proud by me saying that. And her husband? Honestly, Connor liked the guy. A lot. One of those genuinely good dudes. Easygoing. The kind of guy you almost feel guilty being around because he trusts too easily. And Connor remembers thinking more than once, man, if this guy knew, but he never said anything. Mostly because upsetting Grace felt impossible by that point. Connor was already too deep. And maybe that's the hardest truth to admit, because once somebody gets enough emotional real estate inside your head, you start betraying parts of yourself to protect them, even the parts you used to respect. And looking back, Connor can admit something uncomfortable. Nobody in Grace's circle inspired innocence. Nobody inspired stability. Nobody inspired peace. Everybody seemed to be carrying something. Secrets, chaos, double lives, broken boundaries. They needed Jesus. And Connor needed Jesus too. He knows that. He's not pretending he was some innocent victim wandering into darkness with perfect intentions. He made choices, bad ones. But what Connor didn't understand at the time was the world he was entering. Because to Connor, Grace Bennett was simple. An unhappy schoolteacher. Lonely, misunderstood, a woman trapped in a marriage that hurt. That's what he saw. That's what he chose to believe. Meanwhile, everything he needed to know about Grace was standing right in front of him, and he missed it every single time. Because when you're falling for someone, you stop evaluating. You start excusing. Connor didn't have rose-colored glasses on. Connor was blind. And the joke, the cruel joke, Connor spent years wondering, how in the hell does a guy as smart as Graham not know? Turns out, that question would come back around and humble Connor in ways he never saw coming. Because the truth was, Graham knew more than Connor gave him credit for. Maybe not everything, but enough. Enough to feel it. Enough to suspect it. Enough to already be carrying scars Connor hadn't even learned about yet. And his radar? Connor wasn't the reason it existed. No, that radar had been switched on by somebody else, the guy before Connor, Curtis, the man whose reputation was that this guy has cheated on more women than a Texas road construction project has orange cones, and somehow still unfinished. And that's where things started getting even more dangerous. Because somewhere between obsession and love, Connor got sick. Bad sick. Flu. The kind that puts you flat on your back and turns you into a ghost for a few days. And when Connor gets sick, he disappears. No talking, no energy, no social battery. Sleep. That's it, apparently. Grace interpreted silence differently. Or maybe silence just made her nervous. Maybe distance scared her. Or maybe Grace Bennett simply hated not being wanted. Whatever the reason, while Connor was laid up trying not to die under 3 blankets and NyQuil, Grace reached back out to Curtis. The same Curtis she told Connor had only ever been one time. The same Curtis she framed like old history, ancient history, done, over, finished. Funny how people say things are over, until loneliness shows up, or attention disappears. By Monday, Connor was feeling human again, and something felt off. Grace felt weird, too sweet, too eager, almost anxious, like somebody overcompensating before you even know why. Then by Wednesday, she finally said it, sort of, and Connor still remembers the way it landed, not because of what she said, but because of how badly he wanted to believe her. She told him she thought he'd blown her off, thought he was done, thought maybe she'd scared him away. So she called Curtis. I mean, why the hell do you need to call some guy that apparently you ended it with years ago? Then came the explanation, the minimizing, the softening, the version of the story designed to hurt just enough without causing consequences. And Connor remembers feeling it in his gut. That feeling. You know the one that whispers, this isn't the whole truth. But here's the thing about being in love with someone emotionally intoxicating. You become negotiable. Your standards, your instincts, your common sense, everything becomes negotiable. Especially when they know exactly how to pull you back in. And Grace knew Connor better than Connor realized. She knew what mattered, words, touch, time. She knew exactly how to make him feel chosen again. And Connor forgave her, like an idiot. Or maybe like somebody already addicted. Because by then, the red flags weren't red anymore. They looked like butterflies. But that's the problem with falling for someone emotionally magnetic. You stop hearing warning signs. You start hearing intimacy. You mistake vulnerability for trust, experience for wisdom, manipulation for closeness. Connor told himself she was protecting them, protecting what they had, protecting something that felt bigger than logic. And Grace had a way of speaking that made insanity sound reasonable. She could make chaos feel romantic, risk feel intimate, and mistakes feel inevitable. She'd look at Connor like he was the only person who'd ever really understood her, like she'd been starving emotionally for years and somehow he was the answer. And when somebody learns your love languages early, God help you, because Grace knew exactly how Connor worked. Words, touch, time. Every moment with her felt intentional. A hand lingering too long, a compliment timed perfectly, hours disappearing in conversation that somehow made the outside world feel less important. Connor didn't stand a chance, not really. Because while he thought he was learning how to love Grace, Grace already seemed fluent in emotional survival. And somewhere in the middle of all of that, a question quietly started growing in the back of Connor's mind. One he kept trying not to ask. One he kept shoving down every time she smiled at him. If Curtis wasn't really just once, then how much of Grace Bennett's story had Connor never actually been told? And maybe the bigger question, if Grace already knew how this world worked, How many times had she walked through it before? A few weeks passed and something shifted. Connor stopped reaching. Not completely, just enough. Enough for the silence to feel heavier than before. Enough for Grace to notice. And Grace Bennett noticed everything. Distance didn't sit well on her. It irritated her in the way withdrawal irritates an addict. Quietly at first, then all at once. Connor had started hesitating. After Curtis, something in him no longer sprinted blindly toward her. He still wanted her. God, did he want her. But wanting someone and trusting them were two very different things. Grace could feel the hesitation growing, and she hated hesitation. She pushed him, pressured him, wanted things Connor kept brushing away with the same answer. That's not safe. Connor still had enough common sense left to recognize danger, even if he wasn't strong enough to walk away from it. So Grace did what Grace always did when something wasn't moving the way she wanted. She adjusted the game. "We need to go for a drive," she told him, like she was asking him to grab coffee instead of rearrange his morals. They both took the day off work, didn't tell anyone, didn't explain anything, just disappeared, to a hotel room in Louisville. The air felt heavier, more intentional, less fantasy, more reality. Like Grace had decided they'd crossed into something irreversible. Because somewhere between the stolen hours and the dangerous intimacy of being alone together, Grace Bennett decided it was time for Connor to go to school. Only this wasn't the kind of education anyone brags about. No, this was graduate-level dysfunction, a masterclass in secrecy. Lessons Connor still hates himself for remembering. Grace leaned back like someone who'd learned hard truths long before Connor ever entered the picture. "You know what gets people caught?" she asked. Connor shook his head. "Routine." That word stuck with him. Routine. She explained it like someone who understood human weakness too well. People in love become predictable. Not intentionally, it just happens. At first it feels harmless, a random good morning text. Then suddenly, months later, you're unconsciously waiting for it. A check-in after work, a nightly conversation, little rituals disguised as affection. People stop noticing they're building habits until someone else notices them too. Grace talked about patterns the way some people talk about weather: calm, familiar, practice. And that should have terrified Connor more than it did, because she wasn't speaking hypothetically. She spoke like somebody who had already studied the anatomy of secrets, already learned where people slip, already understood how desire makes people careless. Looking back now, Connor realizes something that makes his stomach turn. He mistook experience for intelligence, mistook calculation for closeness, mistook warning signs for intimacy. Because sitting there listening to Grace speak so casually about hidden lives, compartmentalized emotions, and carefully managed worlds, Connor should have stopped and asked himself one question. Why does she already know all of this? But he didn't, because by then he was too far gone, too addicted to the feeling of being wanted, too mesmerized by the way she touched him like he mattered, too blinded by the fantasy of being chosen. And Grace? Grace had a way of making dangerous things feel romantic, like secrecy meant significance, like risk meant love, like destruction somehow meant destiny. Connor didn't realize it then, but that day wasn't just another chapter in their affair. That day changed him. She taught Connor how to create a routine so random that only the two of them could understand it. It looked chaotic from the outside, but underneath it was calculated. Certain mornings, based on a monthly schedule only they knew, would warrant a good morning text. Certain afternoons depended on whether it was an odd or even day. Then there would be the random week each month when all communication stopped completely. Silence, she explained, was just as important as contact. Patterns were dangerous. Predictability got people caught. She also taught Connor about apps. Most people made mistakes because they relied on the obvious ones, the same apps everyone knew could be used to talk to someone. That, according to Grace, was amateur behavior.
But even more amateur was using your own technology. She taught him about burner apps, burner phones, how to purchase multiple phones and keep them hidden at work, at friends' houses, etc. She had him download games, Dragon City, Dragon Mania Legends, innocent-looking children's games from the iOS App Store with built-in chat features. She could sit on the couch beside Graham, television glowing in the background, while he thought she was casually playing some harmless mobile game. She used to laugh about it. "He always says, 'You sure do like kid games,'" she'd tell Connor, amused by how easily people overlooked what they didn't expect to see. For longer conversations, she created a shared email account, but nobody actually sent emails. That was reckless. Sending messages created trails. Trails got discovered. Instead, one of them would compose a message and save it as a draft. The other would log in, read it, delete it, and write a new one in return. Nothing sent, nothing received, just words quietly waiting in the shadows. They also used the GroupMe app, though even that came with rules. Grace would change Connor's contact identity to a woman's name so it looked like she was messaging a friend. She filled the app with harmless-looking group chats, cheerleading groups, friend circles, random social threads, to bury him in plain sight. And when it came to meeting each other, nothing ever made sense. Nothing added up. There was never an obvious reason for either of them to be where they were. Their cars would be parked miles apart. They would Uber to the actual location using prepaid Visa cards purchased with cash. And the cash? That part was simple. Every grocery trip came with $20 cash back at the register. Small amounts, unnoticeable amounts. On paper, it looked like nothing more than groceries. Goodness, Connor. My poor buddy had no idea what he was dealing with. Grace Bennett was basically Erica Kirk in disguise. All right, I'm kidding, kind of. But seriously, if you enjoyed tonight's episode, do me a favor. Hit that like button, share the show, and drop your thoughts in the comments below. I read more of them than you probably think. And before you go, let me leave you with this. No matter what season of life you're in right now, no matter what you're carrying, you are wanted, you are needed, and this world is better with you in it. Keep your head up, keep fighting, and remember, happiness is a choice. Lastly, I leave you with this. If you're in a situation like Connor is right now, you're playing Russian roulette with your life. Don't do it, it's not worth it. Go listen to my man Nate Smith, Wish I Never Felt. I'll see you in the next chapter.
Walking in clouds with you so high. With every step, I feel I can fly. Your love is a breeze, gentle and kind. In your embrace